So many men that I speak to want more respect, connection, and real influence. All of these things have one thing as a bedrock, which is emotional availability. And I think it's one of the secret skills of authentic masculinity. However, emotional availability is really confusing. I mean, like, what does it mean? Because no one ever taught us when we were growing up, or at least I certainly wasn't taught, this is emotional availability, this is how you do it, this is when you do it, okay? And this is how to do it at the right time, okay? So what I want to go through in this video is exactly that. So so many of us think or are being taught, or we have cultural messages that being emotionally closed is strength, like not showing, not feeling the emotion, pushing it down. Obviously, I've tried that, as a guy learning how to be a guy. My father was an abusive alcoholic, so I wasn't given the best role model at all for emotional availability. And if you've watched my other videos, you'll know that when my own masculinity was blossoming, was getting stronger, it was met with resistance, not encouragement, and rites of passage and ritual. So, I have learned either to show up half-heartedly emotionally or to be overly emotionally involved. That emotional boundary wasn't well set. Okay, so in this next 8 minutes or so, I'd like to give you a clear definition of emotional availability. I want to give you four practical behaviors that you can start doing today to build this muscle of emotional availability. I want to give you a test so you can find out where you are, and how well you're doing in your authentic masculinity. Okay, so here's the first thing: is that emotional availability is made up of a few different things: present listening, listening without trying to fix, honest expression, and repair readiness. Right? It is not performance, it's not melodrama, it's not oversharing, it's not being overly concerned with other people's emotions at the expense of our own. Okay, it's about how do we express ourselves with clarity and responsibility and at the right time, because there is an essential timing element. So hang on for one of the, I think it's the last behavior I'm going to share, because timing is so essential in one of them. So relationship research shows that the more emotionally available we are, it's a predictor of long-term intimacy and attraction, more than looks, more than how much money you earn, more than the car you drive, more than your job. So authentic masculinity tied to emotional availability builds trust, reduces conflict, and increases influence. So if you want to be more influential, this is one of the key skills you need to learn. And so, as I said, so many of us don't know when to use our emotion and when not to, or when it's a strength or when it's a hindrance, of when it's going to build connection or it's going to harm connection. So I want to go through and show you now. So the first thing that we teach men when we're coaching and training them is to start becoming aware. I mean, by the way, this is useful for anyone, but I'm just directing this at men. Track your emotions throughout your day. And it's really easy. So you're going to be like, in the morning, I woke up and I felt what? Tired, confused, ready, excited, joy, sad, stressed. Like, just start to notice. Do it again, after lunch, and do it again at the end of the day. Okay, you can put prompts on your phone. It doesn't need to be difficult and shouldn't be difficult. And we want you to notice, what was I feeling? And if you can, how was my body? Was it tense or was it relaxed? For those of you with more embodiment practice, you might notice where in your body you felt that feeling, okay? Because this helps you start to notice how you're sensing and feeling, and, noticing what's going on throughout your day. And hey, look, for a lot of us, when we start, we don't know, and that's okay. Like, that's a feeling. I don't know how I'm feeling. Okay, great. Start there and just notice, where was I breathing? Was I relaxed? Was I happy? Was I not? Did I feel like I could move, or was I tense? Was my mind clear, or was it foggy? Just start to notice and track what you can. We know scientifically, whatever you track improves. If you start building this ability to track these things, it will improve just by doing it. Okay, so that's behavior number one, is to start tracking. This leads nicely into behavior number two, which is, well, if you can track it for yourself, you can notice it in others. You can notice emotional shifts in others, like not just people that you love and care about, but people that you work with. You can be like, hey, your shoulders are more tense. How are you feeling? Okay, now you don't have to say that, but you can notice. Your radar will start noticing tone, facial tension, silence, how someone's breathing, and you can ask, "Hey, how are you? What's up?" And then you say three magic words: "Tell me more." And then our male brain, we have to be really careful with this. Inside 7 or 8 seconds, it wants to fix what is in front of us. So our brain is rewarded for solving problems. It's one of the jobs of testosterone. So we want to be a little careful and just know the people in front of us are not problems to solve. They are beings to listen to with thoughts, feelings, ideas, inspirations. Okay. So I'm laughing because, gosh, I've done this so many times. So the job is to go, tell me more, and listen and let them. Okay, so that's the second. You're going to notice and you're going to ask. The third is really, I've kind of covered it a bit there already. It's about listening without fixing. It's about being curious. It's about holding space. So when someone's sharing, just resisting that urge to fix. So, and ask a question that shows you've engaged. Hey, so when you felt X, or you felt X when that thing happened, have I got that right? Am I understanding you correctly? And then let people tell you if they're not. And this builds connection and it builds a depth of connection and it gives you influence because people start to recognize that you're tuned in and you care. And obviously, hopefully, you're using this because you do genuinely care and not out of some manipulation technique. That is not what I'm presenting here. I'm talking about genuine human interest. And if you build that and if you can listen and be curious and let someone walk you through their inner world, the connection you build and the influence you have go up exponentially. And the last one, and this is where timing comes in. This is particularly true of male female dynamics. Okay, so however the masculine and feminine show up, because you could have um, a homosexual couple, but one if there's erotic polarity, there needs to be a masculine and a feminine expression within that. Okay, so wherever you find the masculine, feminine, just for ease, I'm going to talk about males and females. Okay, when a woman is upset with a man, this is where timing comes in. This is not a time to unload your emotion. Okay, this is a time to be present and to receive her fully. Like, tell me more. I'm here. And the idea you want to have inside you is there is nothing you can say or do that's going to make me take my presence away. There is nowhere you can go that I won't be. I'm here. And just receive her fully. After that, has happened, and maybe even at a later time, like later that day or the next day or a couple of days later, hey, can we revisit that? I've got something to say. Totally. But in the moment, what I think, if you're following my videos, I believe we need more masculinity in the world, not less. And this is the hallmark. The one thing, if I had to pick one out of all the many wonderful qualities in the masculine, the one thing you can't get anywhere else on the world is embodied masculine presence. Like that is the one thing, if I had to pick one. So this is a key time to embody it and deliver it and enjoy the benefits that come from that, the depth of connection. And yes, if it's a male, female, and you're in an intimate relationship, your quality of sex will get better because if you can't receive a woman fully emotionally and be with her, how on earth is she going to open fully to you sexually? These two things go hand in hand, right? So this is an incredible thing. So let's have a couple of scripts you can use to help apply these. So one is, let's say you're really pent up and upset and stressed and you're having these kind of conversations. It's totally valid to say, hey, can we pause for 2 minutes? I need to go take a breath, stretch, come back so I can listen. Totally valid. One of my dear friends, Martine, always says, short-term absence for long-term presence. Go do it. Be clear. I need 2 minutes. I'll be back. Okay. And the other one is making sure that when we apologize, we apply that emotional observation. So I'd like to offer you an apology. It's a gift. I'm not apologizing because I feel bad and I want to feel better. I'm apologizing to offer you something. I'll do a whole other video on apology. But the key is, I'm sorry I did X. I can imagine it caused you to feel that. I wish I'd done this instead. Because then you're taking that emotional availability, your sense of your thoughts, feelings, senses, and theirs, and you're applying it into repair. Okay, because we're going to mess up, we're going to make mistakes, but repair is in many ways, there's a lot of research to show that repair is more valuable, in fact, than the rupturing. Obviously we hope we don't create rupture, but repair is so powerful. So a quick test you can do, okay? So 4 questions. Number one, do people come to you when they're upset or do they avoid you or do they avoid you? So this is going to tell you how emotionally available you are. Number two, Do you ask follow-up questions or do you assume you understand what's going on? Do you get curious and go tell me more, or do you assume you know? Question three, do you apologize without qualifiers? Meaning, I'm sorry I did that, I was tired. Right? Did not just, I'm sorry I did that. Right? Four, when you're asked about how your day was, do you actually say how you felt, or you just say it was like good or fine, like a one word? I used to do that all the time, goodness. Whereas now I might be like, right now I feel excited. I felt great in the morning. I felt tired. You know what I mean? Like, are people able to access what's going on in your inner emotional landscape? If you get three or more, you're doing great. If not, I advise that you pick one. So do people come to me? Am I asking questions and getting curious? Am I, apologizing clearly? Am I tracking my own emotional state? Pick one and practice it. Okay, and you can put it in the comments below. Let me know what you're going to do. I'd love to. I love getting those and reflecting on those. So objections. A lot of guys think, well, I'll be weak. If I show my emotions, I'll be weak. Rubbish. If you've got the courage to face your own emotions, that takes more strength than avoiding them any day, hands down. The guys I know who've got the courage to feel what they're feeling and express it and do that vulnerably in conversation, that their courageousness is far greater, far, far, far greater. So I reject that. You can probably, I just reject that as a whole. No, connecting with your emotions creates strength because it's a feedback system. It's feeding back. How is our life going? Are we on track or not? We have an inner GPS, which I'll talk about in another video, and we have a radar system. Emotions are our radar. What's going out? What's coming in? Is it working or not? Another one, I talked about this before. If you don't know how you feel, look, it's valid. A lot of us haven't been trained to notice or taught or encouraged to notice. So just start with your physical body cues, how you're breathing, how tight you are, how clear your head is. Just start to notice something you can notice about how you are before activity X and after. Okay. And I suggest you do it 3 times a day. And then the main thing that you can do if you're a bit more advanced or you're already good at this is name what you felt and notice where in your body. And the other thing you can start doing to help, practice this is ask someone what's up and actually listen, okay? Because those things are just going to help you cue into your emotions and someone else. So the guys we work with, the guys I talk to who report doing this, okay, have deeper relationships, more influence at work, and fewer recurring fights. And if they do, they recover more quickly. So authentic masculinity is rewarding. It's building trust in ourselves, building trust in others. It's not just posturing or performing. It actually has positive uplift in your life. So comment below which one you're going to practice. Remember that authentic masculinity is listening. It names what's going on. It receives, it repairs. Practice these habits and watch the respect and connection you have grow. And now that you know this, have a look at the video on toxic versus healthy masculinity. It goes into this in a bit more detail, and have a look at the video on power. We have a video on the natural states of power to help you sense how well you're embodying that sense of power. I look forward to seeing you in future videos, and as ever, I hope you enjoyed this one.